Hi, Yvonne. Thank you for joining in. So we'll just give it a few minutes at least to give time for other participants to join, and then we shall proceed. We can probably give it up until 3:08, and then we can begin. Hi, Yvonne. I don't know if it's possible you can just say something to us because I've shared a poll regarding which features would you love um to be emphasized more during the webinar. I haven't received any feedback. Probably, yeah, you can say something, you can send us a chat. It's totally fine. So I think it's good to begin the webinar. So thank you everyone for joining. So we'll do a deep dive of all the features. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. So we'll start with the explanation of FarmCloud. So FarmCloud is a software platform that we use to record your daily farm activities. Excuse me. And as from the summary page, you can see you get the weather insight, you get the total number of employees, the crops in production, the yield. There's also the structures and also financial summary. And lastly, you'll get the daily work reports that you've done. So also the graph changes depending on how frequently you're updating your daily work reports. So first things first, under FarmCloud, the first step to begin is including the structure and plants that are being grown in the structure, which is done under the farm asset, under farm element. So what you'll do is you'll add the specific structure you have in your farm. So if you have a greenhouse, if you have a screen house, if you have a shade net, if you have an open field, you'll add the specific structure. Once that's done, as illustrated here, once that's done, you'll add a plant. So by adding a plant, you'll tap on the structure's name. If it's an open field, you'll tap on the block name. When you've tapped on the block name, it's going to route you to a section where you can add a plant. And on the top right corner, there's an option to add a plant. So you select the specific plant that you're working with, the specific variety, the quantity of seeds and seedlings, and also the planting date. So if you had prior started the planting date, you can backtrack to when exactly you had started the planting, and also include the projected harvest. It doesn't have to be accurate, just an estimate, it's totally fine. So after that, we've finished up on the structure and the plant that are being grown. So the next step is inventory. So you'll keep track of the stock you have for the farm inputs, specifically fertilizers and agrochemicals. So this is just as easy as adding. So if it's not available in the platform to begin with, you'll tap on the green box that indicates add fertilizer. You select the specific fertilizer that you bought or it's currently available in stock. So if the specific fertilizer is not available in the platform, it's nothing to worry about. Just contact our admin and it will take a few minutes and the fertilizer or agrochemical will be added for you and it will be available in the platform. So after adding a fertilizer, you need to select the specific supplier you bought it from or you're in business with. Then indicate the quantity you had bought it for. After that, minimum quantity alert. So minimum quantity alert is just to keep track. So once your fertilizer is almost running out, you can restock before you get caught off guard. So you indicate minimum quantity allowed, you can have it as 5. And then, you add the specific fertilizer. So fertilizers and agrochemicals, I love to term them as twins. So whatever you do for fertilizer is the same step you'll do for agrochemicals. So just for you to see, same thing. The only difference is the name, which is agrochemical. Okay, so just to show you for the available farm inputs in stock in this platform, if you want to restock, if you bought extra, if you want to restock, you tap here and it will give you the option to indicate the extra quantity you bought. Also, if you'd want to edit any information or you want to delete, this is the section to do so. So after that, after indicating the structure and you've recorded your inventory, the next step is the daily work report. So on the daily work report, just as the name suggests, what are the daily activities that you're doing in your farm, which is definitely fertilizer, agrochemical application, scouting, there's irrigation, there's pre-harvest, harvest, and we have other reports to accommodate any other report that's not highlighted in the platform. So we can go through this one. So under fertilizer, you have this section to create a report. So you'll tap on create a report. So once you've tapped on create a report, you select the element. By element, I mean the structure. So you select the element if it's block T, you select the variety, you select the stage. So contrary to this one, let me select a different one that's not in harvesting stage. Let's check with this one. Let's check this one. Okay, yeah. So depending on the stage that you're in, so you'll be given a variety of options from planting, transplanting, vegetative, flowering, fruiting, harvesting, and clearing. So depending on the stage that you're in currently, so if you're beginning, it will be at planting. If you're continuing, transplanting, depending on the stage that you're in. So in our case, we're at flowering. We've selected the variety, we select the fertilizer name, the date of application. We can go with yesterday, time of application, quantity applied. As you can see, also you're guided with the available quantity, the quantity available. We can say we applied 5 kgs, method used of application, you can say drenching, and you can attach any optional notes. So for fertilizer, you can add multiple reports. So if you applied fertilizer in this block, applied fertilizer in a different greenhouse, you can add as multiple reports as you want. So once done, you can just save the report. Yes. So just as illustrated earlier under inventory, fertilizers and agrochemicals are exactly the same thing. So once when you tap on create a report, same thing we've done, you select the block, you select the variety, the stage, you select the agrochemical name, you can go with this one, date of application, time of application. For this one, quantity available is 100 liters. So we can say we applied 20 liters. Method of application spraying, and you can attach any notes. So also for agrochemical, you can add multiple reports. So if you did a number of, you applied a number of agrochemicals, you can add as many reports as possible and save all the reports at once. Okay, so after that, we have scouting. So scouting basically is what exactly did you see while at the farm? So this is how the report looks like. Same thing. You have to select the block that you're currently working with, the variety, the stage, the date of scouting. You can give a brief description. So spotted pests on the leaves. You can also attach an image just to provide more supporting documents for what you saw, and also attach any additional notes. Probably ensure the agronomist visits the farm in the next 2 to 3 days, depending on what you prefer to indicate. So that's it under scouting, just to show you a practical report that we had done prior. So this is what it will look like, who exactly created the report, date, the element, which is the structure, the plant, the variety, the stage, date of scouting, and then description in notes. So that's how the scouting report looks like. So after that, we have manual irrigation. So manual irrigation is quite easy because it's just you indicating what amount of water were you able to irrigate. So same step again. You have to indicate the structure you are irrigating, the plant variety, the stage that you're in, the irrigation date, time, and the duration minutes. So for how long were you irrigating for? So you can go with 160 minutes. Quantity. So quantity, it varies. It can either be in liters, milliliters, or gallons, but in our case, we'll go with liters. So we can say we irrigated 100 liters. Method used, we can say drip irrigation, and then you can attach any notes, and then you add. So after that, we have the pre-harvest report. So the pre-harvest report, out of the other reports, it's a bit unique since it has a checklist. And the checklist mostly is to guide you just to see if you're actually ready for harvesting, or there's something that needs to be corrected before you can harvest. So this is how the pre-harvest report looks like. Same thing as we've been doing. You have to attach a structure that you're working on for every report. And then same thing again, you need to select the plant variety, the planting stage, and the date. And then now here we have the requirements. So depending on the reality in your farm, you will tick truthfully. We hope you will definitely tick truthfully. So either yes or no, depending on what's the situation in your farm. So after that, you can also attach any optional notes. Probably harvesting is supposed to be done in the next few weeks, or depending on whichever notes you'd want to apply. So just to show you a practical example of what the report looks like. So this is what the report will look like. Okay. So after that, we have the harvest report. So the harvest report is considered the last step, but we'll cover this one since it's remaining. So under harvest report, same thing we've been doing. The only difference is that the harvest report is similar to the fertilizer and agrochemical report, since you're able to add multiple reports at once. So same thing, you select the element, select the variety, the stage, in this case, you're at harvesting, dates of harvesting, time of harvesting. And we have, for harvest, it's classified into three, either high quality harvest, low quality harvest, or harvest loss. It can be lost in transit, it can be lost due to theft, depending on what was the situation. But if it doesn't apply, if you don't have any low quality, or if you don't have any harvest that was lost in transit, that's okay. You can just stick to the high quality harvest. So we can have it as we got a total of 100 kgs. We don't have any low quality harvest. We don't have any harvest lost in transit. And then you can attach any notes. So past season harvest. And then we add. So if you want to add multiple reports, same thing as we did previously, you'll just tap on the add another report and continue adding as many reports as possible. Okay, so other than that, we do acknowledge that whatever we've highlighted in the platform doesn't necessarily cover all the activities that are done in the farm. So we have the other section to cover that. So when you tap on other and then tap on create a report, you have the option to indicate what is the specific report you are generating. So you can have pruning. So the only difference with this one is that you'll have to give the report a name. So we give pruning, the same thing again. You have to select the element, which is the structure. You can go with that one. Variety, the dates. As you can see here, we have all the dates from planting up until clearing. So you can just leave it at planting. And then you give a brief description. So pruned block maize, and you can attach an image and also any other notes that are applicable, you can attach it. Okay, so another thing to add on, so when you are on a subscribed option and you need to provide compliance to your buyers, FarmCloud has a section whereby it accommodates that through the traceability report. So if you need to provide any compliance to your buyers, may it be export buyers, local buyers, the traceability report will come in handy. So you'll tap on generate traceability reports. You select the block that you want to generate the traceability report and select the various reports you'd want to provide for compliance. So once that's done, you select on generate report and you'll get all the information you need. So other than that, I'd love to cover weather and satellite in just a minute. Okay. So under weather and satellite, so its main function is to give you real-time and historical data in order for you to monitor your crops remotely. So for weather, which is very self-explanatory, gives you the weather forecast. And for satellite focuses mostly on monitoring how healthy your crops are doing with the help of indices. So first things first, under weather and satellite, you need to plot a farm boundary. So after plotting a farm boundary, so let me just show you quickly how to do so. So when creating a farm boundary, you need to select your farm location. After you've selected your farm location, you'll get this plus sign. But in an instance whereby you don't get the plus sign and you get the hand-like figure, you'll just tap on the inverted polygon and you'll get the plus sign, and it will now enable you to plot your farm boundary. So once you've plotted your farm boundary, you need to give it a name, you need to attach it to a specific block, and then you create a farm boundary. So we'll just head over to the existing farm boundaries we have. So let's use the block maize one. So under this farm boundary, as you can see, when under weather data, so the first information you'll get is the weather information, specifically temperature, which is maximum temperature, minimum temperature, and also precipitation level. You also get the total area covered after you've plotted. So this helps you gauge if you plotted accurately or you'll need to redo the plotting. So also you'll get the soil data. You get temperature at the top of the soil, temperature 10 centimeters deep, and also soil moisture. So under weather we categorize it into 3 sections. So you get hourly forecast, daily forecast, and historical forecast. So for hourly forecast, as you can see here, it's illustrated per time. Today you see up until 3 p.m. how the weather looks like. And a daily you get to see 5 days ahead. So 5 days ahead, you can see 1st October, it looks like it's going to rain. And today it was a bit sunny, but also a bit rainy. So under historical weather, you can backtrack up until 1 year. So the farthest you can check is up until September 2024. So if you want to check what was the weather like in, let's say from October up until November 2024, you're able to do so, and then you can use that information to plan your planting. So that's it when it comes to weather data. The next thing is under satellite data. So satellite is the one that monitors how healthy your crop are doing with the help of indices, and these are the indices. So just to walk you quickly under the indices, just 1 minute. So under satellite data, we have a number of indices. So just to walk you quickly, so we have indices that focus mostly on the health of the crops, and we have indices that focus mostly on the moisture levels in the soil and in the crops. So specifically, NDVI, NRI, EVI, and EVI2 mostly deal with focusing on how healthy your crops are doing. And for this one, the higher the value, the indication of a healthy crop, the lower the value, the indication of a stressed crop. And just to guide you on the system, we've indicated what exactly NDVI stands for normalized vegetation index. So there's an explanation. If you'd love to get the how to analyze the data, there's information there. When healthy vegetation to this figure, sparse or stressed vegetation from this figure to this figure, bare soil or non-vegetated areas, negative 0 or negative values. So as mentioned, in NDVI, NRI, EVI1, and EVI2 focus on how healthy the crops are doing. In terms of moisture, we have NDWI, which stands for Normalized Difference Water Index, which measures the content of water in plants and soil. And high values indicate that there's enough moisture in the soil. Low values indicate that there isn't enough moisture in the soil. So we have DSWI, which stands for Dried Soil Water Index, which is the opposite of NDWI. So it does the same thing, but now for DSWI, if the values are high, it's an indication that the crops are stressed. When the values are low, it's an indication that there's sufficient water in the soil. Also, another thing to point out, if you'd love to at least have this data and interpret it better, if you're on a paid package, you can export your NDVI data, and you can use that to analyze how your farm has been progressing. So I think I can leave room if there's any questions, and then I'll welcome my colleague Sam to cover the remaining bits. Yeah. So if there's any questions, please feel free to inform us and we'll be happy to address them. You can actually just text us if you're not comfortable speaking. You can definitely share a chat on the Q&A, or you can inbox us. It's totally fine. We'll be happy to address. Okay, since there's no questions, I think I'll leave room to my colleague to proceed with the remaining bits. So welcome, Sam, whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, my name is Sama. I'm co-host alongside Stacy, monthly webinar, and welcome all. Okay, let me share my screen so we can start. Okay, so um, let's begin with the bias module so that we'll go to accounting and we'll see product and services, income and expenses. Then we'll move to farm stuff and then we'll conclude with devices that is functioning. So on buyers, these are buyers who you want to make transaction with. Let's say you want to sell them stuff and they want to buy from you. So what you do, you come here and you add a buyer so that you can record the buyer details in the platform. Once you add a buyer, their details will appear. As you can see, you have to fill this form, which is easy to do. A buyer name and contact details, a billing address. So for billing address, we have this checkbox, which is read as shipping, same as billing address. That means if shipping is the same as billing address, you keep this checkbox checked. If it is not the same as billing address, then you can uncheck it. Then go ahead and fill the shipping street address one, address two, country and shipping city, as well as the postal code. And next we have notes and attachments. For notes and attachments is for notes part, you can record notes identifying this buyer. And for attachment part, you have to upload additional information that you wish to identify this buyer with. And for payment terms, we have invoice period and payment methods. Invoice period is the duration you expect this buyer to make settlement for the goods that they have bought from you, and the payment method is the method in which they are going to make that settlement money. With that being covered, I'll show you how the outcome is. So here we have the company name of the buyer, which represents the buyer's name. If the buyer has no company name, the name will be displayed over here. Then you have the email, the phone number, the currency, the pending balance. Of when we get to invoices, we'll see that this pending balance is the balance which the buyer is yet to settle for all the invoices that they have, and the status of the buyer, then the actions that you can take against the buyer. You can choose to edit the buyer information if you discover that you had entered the wrong information about the buyer, or you can choose to archive the buyer. That is when you have no further transactions to do with the buyer, or if the product that you are buying is off season. Then, with that being said, let's now move to accounting. We'll start with products and services, then go to income, then to expenses. For product and services, these are products that one you grow in your farm, services that you wish to sell to other buyers, and other products that you don't grow in your farm. So for the products that you grow in your farm, once you record daily work reports and you reach to harvesting stage, this product will be automatically transitioned to product and services part. Then for the other products that you don't grow in your farm or services that you wish to offer, you have to record them here. You name the product name, the product type, whether it is a farm asset, farm service, or a farm product, and then the unit of measurement, and then a small description identifying the product, and then you can add the product. Once you add your product, it will appear here. You see we have the name, the type, the description, the product code that uniquely identifies that product, and then the unit, status, and action. So for here you can see we have this product, yellow Roman. It is unit kgs, and then you can see here we have plow, which is a farm asset, and it is mouse. So the different types of the product will appear in this column. Then there is action that you can take against the products and services. You can choose to edit the information, archive the product if it is off market or off season, or you can choose to delete the product if you no longer wish to sell that product. Then for income and services is where your invoices are, the invoice that we have billed to the buyer, and also the payments that have gone into that invoice, with the status of the payment, and also the date and the buyer information and the amount that has been paid to that invoice and the payment method. So for one, uh, for you to be able to add an invoice, you must have a buyer recorded in your farm, and also you have to have products that you wish to invoice that buyer. So now that you have demonstrated the buyer and products and services section, let me show you a quick demo on how to create an invoice that you can bill to your buyer. So here we have the invoice number. For invoice number, you select the unique identifier for your invoice. If you wish to leave it, the system will auto-generate it for you. Then we have the date issued. This is the date when you issued the invoice. Then the due date of that invoice. The due date is when you expect the invoice to be settled by the buyer. So you can say, then you have our billing information. Billing, we select our buyer. So you can type a buyer. So you see for this buyer, the buyer doesn't exist. Once you press this button, you'll be taken to a page where you can create our buyer. So for our case, you can choose a buyer that already exists. So we can choose this one. Then we have a checkbox again that says custom billing and shipping. So if the billing address for this buyer is different from the shipping address, we check this box and then we enter the billing address and the shipping address. But if it is the same, then we leave this box unchecked. Then here we have the invoice items. So these represent the line items of the invoice. Once you press this entry button, you will see that we have a list of all the products that we have in our farm. Here we can select this, then it will be able to fill in the description, the quantity, SA2, and then the price for one unit price is price for one, so we have two. So we multiply two times this unit price, you get the amount. And then here for tax is where your product, the one that you're selling, is subject to tax. If it is not, you leave this tax input field empty. But if yes, you can choose to add your tax here, the one that you want to go against the product, and also the tax rate. Then you can add them. Then they will be recorded, installed in the system for future use. So here we can say VAT tax, and then you see it will be 16%. If you wish to remove it, we press this button and it will be removed. Let me bring it back. Then the payment details for our buyer. Let's choose mobile money. Then if you don't have a payment method already, you add a payment method here. You can check see which one you want. You have a check, bank transfer, mobile money, and cash. So you choose the one that is most appropriate to you and also the buyer. And then we have a toggle button here which says save the payment method for future use. So once you toggle this button to and it turns green, this payment method will be saved so that the next time you want to create an invoice, you don't have to go through the process of adding a payment method. You can choose from the predefined list that you entered previously. Now for me, I have mobile money. This is the number. I choose this number. Then the notes. Let's say okay, payment for. Then here on this other side, after notes, next to it we have the sum total. So you can see the amount is 2000. The discount is if we wish to give the buyer a discount, whether you can choose to be percentage or cash. Let's check with percentage. I won't give any discount. And then here we have another checkbox that reads if we want to include the shipping fee. So you can say the shipping fee yes and select the amount, say 100. Then we have our tax breakdown. We have a VAT tax of 16%, which is 320. So if you add the amount plus the shipping fee and the tax breakdown, you get to this total. Once you verify that your invoice information is correct, you can save the invoice now. Then once you've saved it, you can see we have buyer information over here. The invoice number has been automatically generated for you. The due date, the invoice amount, this is the total amount for that invoice. Paid is the amount that has been paid, and the remaining amount is the difference that is yet to be settled. So you can see we haven't paid any amount. Now the remaining is 2420, and then the status is issued. So once your invoice has been paid, you'll see it will transition to paid. If it is overdue, you'll see the status overdue. If the buyer has partially paid it, you'll see that the status will transition to partially paid. And if you wish to discard that invoice, you can void it and you'll see the status will be voided. Alright, so now you see we have actions that you can take against the invoice as well. You can view the invoice, you can edit, you can void, or you can delete it. let's review the invoice. So the invoice that you have generated, this is how it looks like. It has your information over here, and then the invoice information, the date, then the buyer information on this side, and then the invoice line items, and then we have the payment details and the notes. You can choose to download the invoice, or you can choose to close it. So for download, if you wish to keep a physical record, but you don't have to worry for that because this invoice will be here as long as you'll be using FarmCloud. But if you wish to provide a physical record, you can download it. Let's close. Then for our invoice, let us receive payment so that you can see how the payments are being recorded in the payment section. When we receive payment, we select our buyer. Our buyer is John Doe. Then the payment method was mobile money. We have the day, then the amount received. So the amount received can record the amount that the buyer has paid, whether it is the full amount or the partial amount. Let me record the partial amount. Now you see we have our buy information over here. Then we check the invoice that we wish to receive the amounts for. Then you see the invoice amount is 2,420, but we have recorded that we have received 1,000. So let's record 1,000. Then the reference number is, you can choose to have it or leave it. It will be auto generated by the system. And then the notes, let's say partial payment. Then here we have attachments that we should upload so that we can identify this transaction with. So you can choose one. This is for demonstration purposes. You have to upload the required attachments. Let's say the check or the message as a screenshot, that is. Then we save and close. So you can see with our invoice total amount was 2,420. We paid 1,000. Then the remaining, this is the deficit, and the status of our invoices partially paid. So here we can see our reference number for the payment 1,000, our date, and also the payment method has been applied. Then we go back to our invoice. If you wish to see the buyer information from the invoice page, you click on the buyer name. Then you can see that this buyer, the summary, that transaction between you and that buyer, the total amount paid. This is for the invoices, the pending amount, then the overdue total invoices. Then you can see the list of invoices that buyer has, so that you can be able to know if this buyer has good history with you or not. As you can see, it's only one that has been voided, so it's okay. Then we have addresses and note attachments for when we were creating the buyer. Then we can go back to our invoice, and that's it. For here, we have a summary that shows you how many invoices you have this month that have been cleared, outstanding invoice, and also overdue invoice. So next, with that, let's move on to expenses. For expenses, we have two types of expense. We have element specific expense that are bound to a specific farm element, which Stacy demonstrated how to create a farm element, record your plant journey through the daily work reports and all the stages. And also we have the next one is a general expense. So let me show you how we can create and distinguish between the two so that it will be very clear on how you can record that. So for expense, we have a general, as you can see, a record expenses that apply to the entire farm and not specific to any particular element. So farm element is your greenhouse, sheet nets, open field, and for specific expenses, record expenses directly tied to specific farm element, as you can see here. So we will do one for general, then category, land supplier, then the cost incurred, and then the payment made. This is optional supporting document like a receipt for our expense, and then that's it. Right. As you can see, the whole process is very simple. And now, once you have recorded your expense type, general expense, you can approve it as a farm owner. You can approve it so that it can be applied to the list of expense. You'll see our total expense here will change, or you can choose to reject it if you never went ahead and incurred that expense at the end of it all. So let's approve the expense, and you can see that our expense has increased. Then here we have options. You can edit the expense or you can delete the expense. For element specific, it's the same procedure. Once you add an expense, if you wish to add another category, you have to go back and then you create an element specific expense. It's the same process, very easy. Element specific, you can say farm agrochemical or PFT, and variety, and then supplier, and then again the same process. Yep, very easy. And that's it. Then you have to remember that for your expense to be recorded, you have to approve them. Otherwise, they won't be recorded. So once you approve, you see we have our total expense here. So for general expense, you get a summary of the total general expenses and also the farm element expense, the same thing. So for that, let me know if you have any question so that I can address and answer your questions before we proceed with the final bit, which is farm stuff, which is very easy, and also for farm shield, which is a new module that we have integrated into FarmCloud. So any question, you can type them, raise your hand, I'll respond to them. Okay, if there are no questions, let me see a thumbs up so that you can proceed. Right, okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so next we'll go to farm stuff. Farm stuff is very easy. So here we have a list of users that we have invited to our farm as either farm manager or farm staff. There are roles which the farm manager can do that the farm worker cannot do, and that the farm owner can do, and both the farm manager and farm worker cannot do. So for the list of those roles, you the actions that is, you can request them and they'll be shared to you. So here, if you want to invite an account as a farm worker, farm manager, you have to move to invited users. So you can invite users by typing the email addresses and then their own name as farm worker, as farm manager. Once you send this invite, they will receive an email notification with a link for them to set up the account. One, if they are not subscribed members of FarmCloud. Two, if they are subscribed members, they can just log into your farm through their personal uh, password and username. Then that's it for farm stuff. It's pretty easy, no hassle. Then for Farm Shield is for users who want uh, precision farming into the farm elements or open fields. So Farm Shield entails a device that monitors your activities for your farm, and that includes the soil health, the humidity, temperature, so that you can get the exact value and know what is happening with your plants in your farm and know where to improve or the necessary actions you can take if your plants are healthy or not healthy, if the soil is healthy or not healthy, or maybe the external factors like temperature are affecting the growth, whether positive or negatively, at the comfort of your house. That's why we have it here. We got you covered. So here you can press the device and main number. So you can see for our device for this farm, we have the soil moisture level, one position which opens and closes if the device is irrigating our farm or not. Then the total water dispensed since we have installed the device. Then the amount of water that has been irrigated today. We haven't irrigated today. And then for sensor data, we have soil insight that is nitrogen levels, phosphorus levels, and then the ambient data for the same for air humidity, temperature, the carbon dioxide, and light intensity. So, if you wish to have farm shield in your farm, you can reach out to Stacy, and our tech team will visit your farm. Then we'll assess how your farm looks like, and then we'll be able to advise you, also based on your needs. And then we'll send you an agronomist, and Stacy will do the follow up. Then, with that, if you have any question, let me know so that me and Stacy can address any part you didn't understand so that we can close since we have covered all the modules in FarmCloud. Questions will be happy.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam, for the elaborate explanation. So we actually do have Yvonne has raised her hand. So Yvonne, you can proceed and let's unmute you and then you can proceed with your question. So yeah, Yvonne, you can proceed.
Okay, you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so just a question. You see, this when by the time you're saying that you can add farm workers to the app, can you does it provide limited access? Because you see, by the time I'm putting, let's say, someone for spraying into the system, I don't want them to see plus accounts and every other thing, right?
Yeah.
So does it have limited access or segregated access? Can you is there a way you can segregate how much access to whoever you want? Because you see, accounts, they don't need to see everything.
Yes. So
Yes.
actually,
So
yeah, that was actually raised and the feedback was given to the tech team and they appreciated because there's a client who had raised a similar request and we forwarded it to the tech team. So we are currently just waiting implementation. So as of now, no, but it's currently in the pipeline to be implemented.
okay, because now it makes how long do you think that would take? Because then that's when the app would make sense, like for guys like us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
So
you don't want everyone knowing
Mhm.
everything. It has to have,
True.
there's access to
Yes.
this, to that, who has not paid. That's not the kind of information it needs.
Yes, I completely agree. But out of just transparency, allow me not to give you a timeline because I haven't received any from the tech team, but I can definitely give you feedback by Monday. You can just share with me your email and then I'll definitely give you feedback by Monday by when that can be implemented.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you as well, Yvonne. We appreciate that.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. So I don't know if there's any question from anyone. Okay. So if there are no further questions, I think the last I'd love to make it known. Prior to us starting the webinar, I had shown a poster regarding the discounts we are having for all the participants for the webinar, where you'll get 80% off when you upgrade your platform. Just 1 minute, I share the code with you. So if as long as you're a participant and you have access to the code, you can upgrade at 80% off. So let me just share that. Okay, so as you can see, that's the code for you to enjoy the benefits, just as an appreciation for joining our webinars. Other than that, I do appreciate all of you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for joining, and I hope to see you guys the last Friday of October, same time. And yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for choosing FarmCloud by Senefa. Have an amazing weekend.